Hello, everybody. It's Daniel here. Welcome to Emotional English, the Emotional English podcast where you learn an English language effortlessly, emotionally, fulfilled with energy, and of course, positively. Welcome, everybody. Another day, another chance to learn English with Emotional English. Today, I've prepared another topic for you guys, and we will discuss the topic of fear, the fear factor at work. And this is more business topic, right? And I think if you're a businessman, or if you are an office worker, this topic will be very relevant to you. But before we start, I just want to make some news updates for you guys. First of all, if you like our podcast, don't forget to subscribe and push the like button on the platform you're listening to us. And if you want to join our community, go to Telegram or VK. You can find the links on the description. If you like our podcast and you want to support us, just go to Boosty or support directly to my bank account with a little donation. And one more thing, I've started the Emotional English Community Club where we speak English in a group. And we do this every Sunday from 12 p.m. until 2 p.m. Moscow time. So if you're familiar with English, if you have pre-intermediate or intermediate level of English, you're very welcome to join our clubs. Just go to the special link in the description section and join our community, right? And our group. I will send you all details when you will send your request. And let's go back to our topic. So the fear factor at work. And I'm guys, so sorry. I have a drill on my background. Sorry about that. One of my neighbors just drilling something, and it's very disturbing. But I will try to concentrate, and I will try to do my best to give you this beautiful episode. So the business dive, the fear factor at work. And we start with a focus vocab, right? So there are some interesting words here that I want to show you today, guys. And I want to reflect. I want to show you the definitions, and all together, we will learn it effectively. So the first word is urgency. Urgency. What is urgency? Classically, urgency is your feeling. If you have urgency, it's the feeling that something is important and needs to be done right now, immediately, right? So if you have an urgency to send an email, it means that you need to send your email right now. If I have an urgency to call my mom, I need to do this right now. We need to do this now, right? That's the thing. And in business, people create a sense of urgency all the time. You know, when the boss come in and they ask you, the boss asks you, do this, do that. It's very important. You need to do it right now. That's the urgency. And you have a sense of urgency. You feel not very comfortable when the urgency comes, okay? The next phrase is the recipe for disaster. It's an idiomatic phrase here. The recipe for disaster is a situation that will almost certainly end very badly, okay? So let's say if I'm saying something like, if you will call your old friend from school, it would be the recipe for disaster. So this is not a good ending for sure. So recipe for disaster, it's something that 100% will go bad, right? So, and this phrase is very common, and you say this to say that a workplace with constant fear is guaranteed to have problems. It's not a real recipe, as you understand. It's a recipe for badness, for a bad situation, right? So people say, don't do this because this is the recipe for disaster. It's the recipe for very bad circumstances, right? Next, we have the word innovation. Innovation. What is innovation? Innovation is pretty simple word, right? When you see the innovation, it's something new. It can be a new idea. That's an innovation. It can be a new method of learning English, for example. It's an innovation. And another thing, it could be a product, right? The product innovation. So, and you can use the noun to describe what kind of innovation you are discussing. You can say an idea innovation or the method innovation or the product innovation. So you can define it by the noun before the word innovation. So what else? I think it's pretty simple word. Next one is toxic. It's an adjective. When you call someone toxic, this person is very unpleasant, right? And this person makes you feel bad. It harm you, right? This person harms you. And you don't want to speak with toxic people, right? So toxic relationships, toxic people, toxic situations, that's all about atmosphere, right? So when you are in the toxic relationships, the atmosphere there is very, it's not good, all right? If you are in, if you see the toxic person, so you cannot be effective because the person will make a disaster. So let's say the toxic people, it's a recipe for disaster. If you meet the toxic people, or if you would ask the toxic person to come to your party, that's a recipe for disaster. Nobody would like it, right? Because a toxic atmosphere somewhere at work, generally at work, is poisonous, right? What has been poisonous? Like you can die from it, right? Because it's a poisonous, right? Poison is there, but it feels very unhealthy. It feels emotionally damaging for people working there, right? It's all about toxicity or toxic things. The next idiom is pretty interesting one, is to grind to a halt. To grind to a halt. Very nice, beautiful idiom. When you're grinding to a halt, things are going very, very bad. Let's imagine the company is functioning and company is grinding to a halt. So the first steps, the company slows down, and then the company stops completely. I mean, the effectiveness of the company stops completely. Let's imagine, if you remember the old telephone companies, right? I remember when I was buying the cards, for my internet connection. I remember I was paying like 150 rubles for the card and for the provider, and then you were using your phone connection to connect to the internet, and it was so weird. But right now, where are these companies? They they grind it to a halt, right? So they are nowhere because the business collapsed. And first of all, when the new technology, when the new innovation came up, so first the old style businesses slow down, and then they stop completely because it's over. So the technology is dead. So anyway, when you are grinding to a halt, it's not a good thing, right? And when the progression is going worse and worse, that's the same thing. It's grinding to a halt. It's going to nowhere. It slows down, and then it completely stops, right? And you can imagine the big machine, and that machine is getting broken down, right? Or it's getting broken, right? So it's something happening with the machine. It slows down, and then boom, one moment, it's over, right? Because somebody was grinding to a halt, right? Or the company was grinding to a halt, or the department was grinding to a halt, or the person was grinding to a halt. Everything has the same idea. So first, slow down. Next, stop completely. The next word is to channel, right? To channel. What does it mean to channel? When you kind of directing the energy or your effort, right, towards a particular purpose, your goal, you're kind of channeling it, right? And people say good leaders can channel the energy from fear, right? And we have this idea of channeling or channelers who are listening how dead people speak, right? Because they create the channel with these people and they speak with them, with dead bodies, right? But I don't know. Do you believe this? For me, it's nonsense. But anyway, people who can channel the energy from fear, they guide it away from being a negative feeling and turn it into a positive force for success. So it's a very good thing when you're channeling the energy, negative energy to positive. It's very, very good. And good leaders, they can channel this energy. And the last but not least phrase I want to show you today is the word to inspire. So what does it mean to inspire? when you inspiring someone, you make someone feel motivated, right? You make someone feel excited to do something great, right? So if you inspire your friend to start a new job, so it's absolutely good because you motivate your person, your friend, and your person is getting excited to do something very nice, right? So, for example, the best motivation, it's not a fear, right? It's when a leader inspires you, right? It's about making people want to do their best, not forcing people to do their best, right? Inspiration is a big energy, and leaders can create this energy. Okay, that's the drill coming up. All right, sorry guys. Now, with learning all these phrases, right, with all these words, I think we can start reading the text I've prepared for you guys about the fear factor at work, right? And this is a pretty conversational text I've got. And we will go paragraph by paragraph. We will discuss piece by piece. And I hope it will be useful and interesting to discuss. If I see something interesting, or if I see the interesting vocabulary instead what we had discussed already, I can comment this and I will make it more simple for you. Okay? So let's begin. The fear factor at work. Let's be honest, a little bit of fear can work. Think about a big project deadline. That feeling of pressure can give your team a real push to get things done quickly. Some managers use the idea to motivate their staff, creating a sense of urgency with tight deadlines, a tough sales targets, right? They believe this pressure stops people from getting too comfortable and ensures everyone is working hard. In the short term, this can look like success because the numbers go up. That's the first paragraph. Now, I offer you to go step by step, sentence by sentence, and comment each step wisely. So, let's be honest, a little bit of fear can work. And let's comment this. So why a little bit of fear can work? Because fear is a big motivator, right? So we can use fear as an instrument to motivate ourselves. Fear can inspire us to do something, right? So, for example, if you have a lack of work and you're kind of scared that you will lose your money or you will lose the place of work, so you will move your ass, right? You will do something because you're scared. And this fear motivates you. And now you can think about a big project deadline from the text, right? What do you feel this very moment when the deadline is here? Deadline is something that you should do urgently right now because it's very close to you. You know, some projects have 2 weeks deadline. Some projects have 3 weeks deadline. It depends, but classically a big project deadline is about half of the year or something like this. And when the deadline is very close to you, so that's the problem, right? And I know many students who are preparing their diploma's work or something like this. So they have a deadline until the end of the, let's say, spring. They should finish their diploma project, right? And that's when the deadline is very active, right? And most students, I think, they are skipping this period. They are chilling first, and then they have a couple weeks to finish their project, and they start working nights and days. You know, that's crazy. So the deadline, it's creates the feeling of pressure, right? This deadline creates the feeling of pressure. It can give you or your team a real push to get things done quickly, right? And yes, maybe it's an adrenaline, right, that pushes into your blood, and then you can move quickly because you realize that if you mess up with a deadline, you will have some troubles, right? Problems. Some managers, they use this idea to motivate their staff. So they create a sense of urgency with tight deadlines or tough sales targets. And that's why we all have plans at work, right? If you have a plan, if you finish your plan successfully, so the employer pays you money well. But if you haven't, oh my goodness, you are losing your money, let's say a portion of it at least, right? So they believe managers, they believe that the pressure stops people from getting too comfortable, and pressure ensures everyone is working hard. So there are some managers, they do believe this, right? They believe that if they create the deadline, even impossible one, people will feel a much more bigger motivation, right? And they will finish the project in time. But the problem is, that people feel very bad. It creates stress. And some people, they cannot handle stress. They cannot handle fear. And that's another trouble. And some people, they can lose their efficiency when you're pushing them. It's another big story. In a short term, this can look like success because the numbers go up. But in the long term, your people will go into the state of burnout. And are you familiar? What is a burnout? Burnout, it's when you feel the lack of energy. You don't feel anything. You feel very bad. So you have a lack of energy this very moment. So not good feeling. That's the first paragraph, guys. We finished it. I commented it. So let's read it again, reread it. And then I think we'll go to the second one. Let's be honest. A little bit of fear can work. Think about a big project deadline. That feeling of pressure can give your team a real push to get things done quickly. Some managers use the idea to motivate their staff, creating a sense of urgency with tight deadlines or tough sales targets. They believe the pressure stops people from getting too comfortable and ensures everyone is working hard. In the short term, this can look like success, but the numbers go up because the numbers go up. Okay, so that's the first part. And we had discussed, generally speaking, frankly speaking, we had discussed that managers uses the fear to manipulate their employees, to give them and encourage them to finish projects in time. And it has some consequences, and they are not so positive in the long run, right? Let's go to the second paragraph. But living with that kind of pressure every day is a recipe for disaster. When employees are constantly afraid of getting in trouble, they stop taking risks. Why suggest a creative new idea if it might fail? This kind of fear-based culture kills innovation and breaks down trust. It creates a toxic atmosphere where people feel stressed and burned out. Eventually, your best people will start looking for new jobs, and the company's progress will grind to a halt. Okay, that's the second paragraph. I hope it was fun. And now let's go sentence by sentence with comments. But living with that kind of pressure every day is a recipe for disaster. And here you go. We got that second word from our focus vocab. So what is a recipe for disaster here? Of course, it's following the technique managers follow. So managers, they follow the technique that pressure every day is a good thing. But in general, or in the end, it's a recipe for disaster. It's not a good idea. When employees are constantly afraid of getting in trouble, they stop taking risks, okay? So they fear so much, and they're becoming conservative, more conservative. They stop implementing new steps. They stop creating things. And that, happened for a reason. What is the reason? Because they're constantly afraid of getting in trouble. That's why. They stop taking risks. And that's because of some smart managers, quotes, in quotes, of course. They implement this pressure technique. Why suggest a creative new idea if it might fail? Yeah, this is the question. Why people should be creative with new ideas if it might fail and they can lose their jobs? They don't want this, right? They want a conservative move with safe surrounding atmosphere. This kind of fear-based culture kills innovation and breaks down trust. So people, they lose their energy, they lose their motivation, they lose their, let's say, their trust to themselves. They don't trust themselves anymore. They lose their motivation. They're not encouraged anymore. So you don't want this. You need to remove this thing from the manager's mind. Because it creates a toxic atmosphere where people feel stressed and people feel burned out, right? So that's not good. When you have a lot of stress, when you burned out, it's like, again, it's a feeling when you have completely zero energy. Your battery is dead. You have no energy. That's a burned out. And that's because of stress. That's because of these pressures, right? And eventually, from the text, your best people will start looking for new jobs, right? Where people feel more safe, and the company progress will grind to a halt. It will slow down first, right? And then over, nothing, right? So the manager will lose their job for sure. Managers will. So I have a couple questions here about this paragraph too, guys. So let me know, what will grind to a halt according to this paragraph? Yeah, the company's progress, right? Because the manager is acting weird, not smartly. So the company's progress will grind to a halt, slows down, and then maybe stop completely, right? And all of that because of this culture, fear-based culture. It kills innovation. It breaks down trust. It's not what we want. Okay, I will reread the second paragraph for you guys to make it in a fast-paced, and then we'll go to the third one. But living with that kind of pressure every day is a recipe for disaster. When employees are constantly afraid of getting in trouble, they stop taking risks. Why suggest a creative new idea if it might fail? This kind of fear-based culture kills innovation and breaks down trust. It creates a toxic atmosphere where people feel stressed and burned out. Eventually, your best people will start looking for new jobs, and the company's progress will grind to a halt, unfortunately. And now we go to the last but not least paragraph, number 3. So what is the solution? What is the solution to this problem? Let's reflect on it. The probably solution is pretty simple, right? The best leaders don't use fear as a weapon, okay? Remember that, guys. The best leaders never use fear as a weapon, but they understand its power. The fear of a competitor getting ahead can be a powerful motivator for the whole team. The trick is to channel that energy in a positive way. Great leaders create an environment where it's okay to experiment. It's okay to fail sometimes. As long as you learn from the mistake. This way, fear isn't something that holds people back. It's a challenge that inspires everyone to be better. Okay? I hope it was understandable. Now let's go sentence by sentence. So what's the solution, right? The solution is pretty simple. We need the best leaders. And these best leaders, they never use fear as a weapon, right? They don't use fear as a weapon. They don't use it. But they understand the power of fear. The fear is a competitor, right? The fear of a competitor, if you're scared that your competitor, who is a competitor, you can ask, it's another company, right? It's your competitor. Let's say Apple has a competitor who create another phone. Let's say it was BlackBerry long time ago. Now BlackBerry is out. So we have Xiaomi or whatever, how you call that company from China, or Huawei, right? Whatever. All these companies, it's competitors. That's why America put sanctions on them. So the fear of a competitor getting ahead can be a powerful motivator for the whole team. So the whole team can be motivated because they see their competitor, another company, in front of them. And if you see someone in front of you, you want to achieve the new horizon. You want to win the race, and you try to do something for it, right? And smart leaders, best leaders, they do understand this power. The trick is to channel the energy, negative energy, in a positive way. Let's say we have a negative energy of fear, and now we're using this energy and we are looking for positive reflection. Like, why do we have this fear? Let's reflect on it. Let's find the way, what we can do with this fear in a positive way, right? That's channeling. That's what makes you more energized, right? So great leaders create an environment where it's okay to experiment. It's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to fail sometimes. It's okay because you have a friendly environment. You feel the comfort, you feel coziness in your team. So as long as you learn from a problem, you understand that it's not a big deal to make a mistake. You're learning from this mistake. This way, fear isn't something that holds people back. It's something that pushes you forward, right? It's a challenge that inspires everyone to be better. Okay, with that said, I think that's the last part of this paragraph. And as you see, we understood that fear can be used with two ways, right? The way number one, not a good one. It's a little bit weird way, but some managers, they still use it. It's a pressure, fear of pressure. So when managers start pressing you and saying something like, you're not getting your salary if you haven't finished this project with a correct deadline, right? In time. So that's a manipulation and it's very dangerous. So you can lose the whole motivation and you will quit the job. But another good leader, good way of using the fear is to go another direction, to use the fear as a source, as a energy battery, right? And you can start do some reflection and use that energy to implement it into your work activity and win again. So that's the way of understanding this paragraph, guys. So I think we cleared the whole thing, right? So everything is clear here. And we can revise the vocab. Let's say if I need to do something very fast right now, immediately, what kind of thing is this? How can you describe what is it? If my boss comes to me and asks, Daniela, you need to send the email to another company, right? To the manager. What is it? Of course, it's an urgency, right? So they ask you to make an urgent task, right? And you should do it because you must do it immediately because the boss said that. Next, if you have a situation that will almost certainly end badly, what kind of recipe is this? It's a recipe for success, isn't it? Of course not. It's a recipe for disaster, right? So this is a nightmare. That's the recipe for something very, very bad. If something is new, if somebody is creating the new idea, the new method, the new product, what is it? It's an innovation, right? But if the company is kind of slowing down, and then there is a big chance that the company will stop working completely, what is happening with the company? The company is grinding to a what? To a halt, right? Grinding to a halt. Very good idiom. But if I want to use the energy, let's say I want to use the energy, what do? If I want to use the bad energy and use this energy in a good way, I start channeling the energy, right? I'm channeling the energy from fear. I'm like creating the channel of a negative, from a negative energy to the positive one. And I'm like the person who is transmitting and who is changing this type of energy. And the last thing, if you can inspire the person, what does it mean? Right. You can make someone feel motivated, right? You can make someone feel excited to do something. And that's amazing. Okay, I think that's all for today, guys. We faced the whole paragraph. If you like this type of discussions about business, let me know in the community, right? Just find our community, Emotional English, on Telegram. Click on the link in the description or find us anywhere. So you can do it yourself. I have a website, danilabondarenko.ru, where you can find how to study English with me personally, to have a private lessons, right? If you're interested, just go to the website and apply for your tryout lesson. It's free. So if you want to try what does it mean to study language with me, you can do it. And don't forget, you're always welcome to visit our podcast again and again to practice your English. So I will see you next time very soon. I hope I will make another podcast episode this Saturday. So just be prepared, be hyped, and things gonna be well. Let's stay in touch. I hug you all. I kiss you all. Have a beautiful day and enjoy learning English. Have a good one and take care. Bye-bye.